Hey, Diageo. The lights are on. I'm gonna go down to the basement.
They go on at 7.
Oh, okay. At 7:30?
Yeah. Your schedule's in the kitchen right now.
Okay.
I knew you were on your break.
Okay.
It's all muted right now.
Well, maybe we should just do it outside anyway.
Well, it's something gonna be around it to bring the stuff back in too. Because afterwards, he's gonna, bring in tables.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people.
Were you up in
And have,
earlier?
how late does he
How
work
was
tomorrow?
everything muted?
What
Is
hours?
there a bunch of stuff muted?
Yeah, that was.
DeAndre, what time do you work tomorrow?
1:30?
To 10, eh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. he's only here till 10.
So how about this? What if we did 1, 2, the food, and then just chairs? Just 10, 15 chairs there. So people could sit.
Yeah,
And then
that's fine.
I don't know anything about food as far as how many tables you need, but I'm sure we need a table to hold this stuff.
Hey, DeAndre?
Yes.
I guess things like that will change for tomorrow.
So all the mics are muted, so just let her know before you start.
Okay,
That
great.
before you start doing your speech, you need to
Okay.
do it. That way you're not getting cut off.
I have 7:24.
Is somebody here? Is it already playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's,
Wine is already.
yeah, she knows what to do.
23. Okay.
You dealt with it.
I understand. I mean, I know we're gonna make it outside. But when I first started using a bunch of tables around it was white. Said that was really hard.
Yeah.
He said he didn't think it was anything outside at all. Why do you think that maybe it's just allowing next up?
Well, the weather's nice, and it's I think it's nice to have a change of venue. Yeah.
Is that gonna be for the hotel as well? Yeah.
Oh, Susie, I didn't realize you had a cast. What's going on there? Right?
75 is
So the time and all that's the same.
Thank you.
So Maggie, apparently Stephen.
was thinking about you earlier, trying to come up with just the right piece. It's gonna happen.
So let's see, I'm gonna sit in that one if that's okay. And so, but why don't you bring one over here, Jackson? You wanna pull this one over? You can pull this right over here next to that. Or right behind the Torah thing. Yeah, there we go. There we go. We're not taking the Torah out tonight. So that works. That works. Have you met Solomon Jackson? Cantor Ellison?
Sure, we've met, I believe we have online.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you in person.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
This is my son Jackson.
Hi Jackson, how you doing? Good. Walk outside and see a very big mountain right over there. You guys are like,
You gotta be persistent.
exactly. They always give us it's like a birthday trip. I think you got
It's
it.
like the reverse, yeah.
Exactly.
Can't walnut. These ones you can't light up.
Takes a minute. Totally.
Right. So there's your copy. The outline.
Yes. Oh yeah, I got it. Perfect.
Okay, great. Great. So everything's
Yes.
good.
I'm just beyond exhausted.
Yeah.
He's the Hebrew.
Those shoes nice.
Oh. So not the Hebrew at the bottom?
I don't usually do it because then people sing along with it.
Nobody's gonna join the Hebrew.
No.
I don't think so.
In English.
Yes, I want them to do the English.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
So,
Oh.
so wait, so you're saying?
Normally I would do the first part in Hebrew, followed by English.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Okay.
Oh, so you're gonna do, but you're gonna do the phrasing. You're gonna do the whole sentence, and then we do the English. But honest of whatever it might
Right.
be, and then we go into English. Yeah. So Hebrew, English, Hebrew, English. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I wasn't sure how much. Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
Just had my pick.
So we can start. All right. Whenever you are ready, Cantor. Yeah, let's do it.
Shabbat Shalom, Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. How beautiful is this day of Sabbath peace. So beautiful to be with you all in person, and so good to be with our friends joining us on the live stream. Welcome, everybody. Tonight we come together as we do for Shabbat to experience the joy, to experience the peace that is Shabbat. May we cherish this time tonight to take in and experience all that's good, all that is holy in the world, all that's holy around us and that's within us. And during this sacred time and in this sacred place, as well as in the holiness of our homes, the folks joining us on the live stream, may we let go of the fears, the frustrations of this past week. Let them go with Shabbat is here as best we can to let them go as we just give ourselves this time to slow down, this time to reflect, this time to enter the peace and the joy that is Shabbat. Well, today is the 21st day of Elul, the Jewish month of Elul. So that means we are 9 days away from the Jewish New Year, from Rosh Hashanah. But who's counting? I think we're counting. I don't know if you all are counting. We are counting. We're 9 days away. And what we've been doing here at Temple Sinai during the month of Elul, and it's a tradition to do this during the month of Elul, usually in the morning, to blow shofar. Not all the 100 blasts that people do on Rosh Hashanah or the 30 blasts that we do here at Temple Sinai, but just one tekiah, just to get us in the mood, to get us in the spirit, to let us know the high holidays are just around the corner, and it's time to prepare. It's time to get ready for the Jewish New Year. So we are honored tonight to have Maggie Freed. Oh, and who are we pointing to? Steve is blowing shofar tonight as well. Do we have two people blowing? All right, we have a chorus, a shofar chorus. So Maggie and Steve, good, they're going to line up like the shofar chorus. Cantor's going to call it tekiah. It's the mitzvah. We're going to listen and take in the sound of the shofar.
Tekiah.
All right, in sync.
Love it.
Well done. All right, I just had a memory of Tekiah Gedola, right? Oh, the lights just came on. How appropriate.
They heard the shofar.
Yeah, it woke up the electrical system in addition to waking us up.
Went, oops, whoops.
Well, we're looking forward to the shofar chorus. Maggie, how many folks you think we'll have blowing shofar? Beautiful. 7 or 8. And we have, speaking of choruses, we have our temple choir. And we have about 7, 8 of our members.
About 8.
About 8. Okay, 8 is the number.
It's a good number.
It's a good number. The symbol for infinity, right? The 8th day for a bris, the 7 candles of Shabbat. So 8 is a symbol. 7's a symbol of completeness. 8's a symbol of infinity. So, and actually, if you flip it on its side, it looks like it. Yeah. So thank you for blowing shofar tonight. Thank you all for being here tonight. And let's bring in the light and the warmth and the joy of Shabbat. We are so honored to have members of the Garlic family with us tonight. We're honored to call upon Saul and his son Jackson, who are going to bring in the Sabbath candles. So we're on pages 120 and 121. Yeah, let's go down. Let me get you a microphone. Sure. All right, I tried this one. It's named Olive. Pages 120 and 121. We'll speak into the microphone for the benefit of our folks on the live stream. Come on over, Jackson. Jackson, are you in the 3rd grade now? Yeah. All right. Very nice. So who's going to hold the microphone? Who would like to hold? Okay, Dad. Okay. So how about if you join Dad with the prayer?
He's going to help me because my voice is gone. So we're going to do this. He's helpful. Ready?
Mm-hmm. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Thank you. you'd like to do this, I can hold your book. So here's how we do this. If you'd like to, you may want to step up. So hold it down here. That camera all right, like a pro. Yeah.
Takes a little time.
Yeah, these wigs.
You gotta be patient.
Trick wigs. I think that's it. Oh, okay. All right.
So close.
So close. There you go. I think you got it.
Nice.
Awesome. That's fine.
Yep.
Got it. Great. Now, John's gonna lead us in the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat.
All right. Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'll take them. There we go. Thank you. So we can head back up. All right. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Saul. That is the way to do it. And with our Sabbath candles lit, we invite our temple community to please stand together for our family blessing. We ask God's blessings upon us at this Erev Shabbat, this evening Shabbat, blessings of peace, wholeness, well-being for everybody. And please join us.
May God bless you and keep you. May He shine His face upon you and grace you. May He lift His presence unto you and grant you peace. May God bless you and keep you. May she shine her face upon you and grace you. May she lift her presence unto you and grant you peace and grant you peace. I'm gonna get that one.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Yeah, that's a fun one. We were trying to find the composer of that particular Shabbat family blessing. I think it's a mystery.
I've never heard it before here.
Well, the story is, it may be apocryphal, is that it was written specifically for Temple Sinai. That's the story.
Do we know how long ago?
Years ago. Well, boy, Maggie, what do you think? 40 years ago? No idea.
Maybe I know someone who knows.
You know somebody who might
Maybe
know?
My aunt knows.
Huh?
My aunt may know.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Cantor's aunt,
Those are Rebbitzin.
Rebbitzin Weiss, Kenny Weiss of blessed memory. She was the Rebbitzin here in the 70s, I want to say the 70s.
Late 70s, maybe even early 80s.
Okay. So maybe you can ask your
I am
aunt
going to ask her.
if she remembers that or if she knows the story about it. Hey, we may get the actual story this
Ooh,
time.
I'm
All
excited.
right.
Email tonight.
All right, nice. Thank you. Well, let's turn to page 124. Page 124. One of my favorite prayers about, well, two of my favorite prayers about this, what the synagogue can be, what our synagogue, I think, is. Let's do the middle one, and we'll pray responsively in the middle of page 124. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are seeking friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. And we hope we fulfill that aspiration, and we continue to attempt to fulfill that aspiration. Well, let us turn now to page 138 and 139. Page 138 and 139, we're going to joyously greet the presence of Shabbat, as our people have done for centuries, by singing Lecha Dodi, welcoming Shabbat and the divine presence, God's presence with love. Please join us. We're going to make this a good key rather than before. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. One more time. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmiyanu el ha'meichad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet, L'likni la 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 la, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Please rise, everybody, as we face the door.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi kala, boi kala, la 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 la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. One more time. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela. Lecha Lecha Dodi, Likrat Likrat Kala, B'nei B'nei Shabbat Nekabela.
Let's remain standing. As we turn to page 146, we are in the right posture to do our call to worship, the Baruch Hu. We are on page 146, everybody, and let's join in our call to worship. As we remain standing and turning to page 152. Page 152, we open our hearts to God's presence in our lives. We open our hearts to goodness and blessing as we recognize and express the unity of God and God's creation that is expressed in the Shema.
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And please be seated, everybody. Let's see. I'm remembering a story. Saul, were you telling me that Jackson likes to do calligraphy with Hebrew? Yeah? Is this true, Jackson? Yeah, Dad told me that story. Is that okay? Yeah? So you do like calligraphy, you do the Hebrew letters? Very nice. Did you notice that, and I wonder if everybody noticed too, on pages 152 and 153, the way that the Hebrew letters look so fancy in the blue? Isn't that cool? And then some of the letters have little crowns on top. Have you seen a Torah scroll where they have the crowns on the letters? I'll have to show you a Torah scroll. I'll have to bring a Torah scroll into your third grade class, and I'll show you all these little crowns on the Torah scroll. It's really a way to make the words of Torah beautiful with these fancy little things. Now, is there a favorite Hebrew letter that you like to write? Aleph. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I like that. Some people say that an aleph is two letters combined. Can you picture that? So at least, let's see if there's there's an aleph here. So take a look at the aleph. Let's everybody take a look at the aleph on the fourth word. It's also on the sixth word, on the word echad. Maybe that's easier to see on the word echad. Does it look as though there maybe is a yud? Yeah, on the like that looks like on the the right side of that, and then maybe an upside down yud, or maybe even looks like a little Zion, but upside down yud on the other side, and then maybe the little one, the diagonal. If you were to straighten it out, maybe it looks like a vav, a little bit like a vav. So fun with Hebrew. I can't wait to see some of your. If you'd like to bring me some of the calligraphy that you've done, I bet Cantor and I would love to see it. I bet we'd love to see it. It sounds really cool that you're doing that. Sounds really neat. Well, the next prayer that we're going to do, the Via Hafta, a scribe, a sofer, calligraphies this, does it by hand, and puts this prayer that we're going to chant right now from the Torah in the mezuzot, in the mezuzah on our doorpost. And I bet he puts the little crowns on top, the little ornaments on top as well. So let's join together in chanting the Via Hafta prayer.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Let's turn now to page 157. Page 157. We're getting ready for the most ancient song of the Jewish people, our song of freedom and redemption, the Micha Mocha. Before we do that, let's join in this beautiful reading on the top of page 157 that talks about Mount Sinai. It talks about the promised land of Eretz Yisrael. Talks about leaving Egypt, but a little bit of Egypt we might carry with us. So let's pray together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Torah tefilot, osei fele, Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha
All right. Well, speaking of songs, on page 162, this is a Shabbat favorite. This is a Shabbat favorite. We are at the top of the page. Yes?
Yes, we are.
We are going to do a Vishamru. And I think there might be a moment for time for us to clap during this song. Yes?
There's clapping, and there's also like a time just to go at, like you if you feel like standing up.
Yeah, what's this?
On the word et, like when there's lots of kitties around, they like to jump up. Et. But I have revised it for those who don't want to jump up in the air. Just throw your hands up in the air.
Like a wave.
Et. Exactly, kind of like the wave, exactly.
Okay.
And then clapping is just going along with the melody.
Okay, all right.
You gotta sing. Here we go. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat lasot et haShabbat ledorotam b'ritolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat lasot et haShabbat ledorotam b'ritolam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael od hi leolam, od hi leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat lasot et haShabbat ledorotam b'ritolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et haShabbat lasot et haShabbat ledorotam b'ritolam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Israel et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam beritolam. I think I'd give them an A for effort.
Absolutely. Well, and I
Yes.
saw somebody stood up too.
I did too.
In addition to the wave, I feel like I got my aerobic workout a little bit today.
Totally, a little bit of
Little-
ruach.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, Cantor. Well, let's turn to page one. Oh, the next pages 164 and 165. We come to a series of blessings called Hatafillah, literally the prayer, and a beautiful way for us to think about what our prayer is, what our prayer can be. In the middle, page 165, it comes from the great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel. Rabbi Heschel taught that prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. And in that spirit, let's all stand together for our tefillah, hatefillah. We're going on the right-hand pages, starting on page 164. We'll follow along in the Hebrew.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim. Somech Noflim Berofech Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Va'agevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayem, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim bechol yom, yehallelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
And please be seated, everybody. Let's conclude Hatefillah on page 177 with a prayer of gratitude. Page 177. Now, for those of you who celebrate Shabbat with us at Temple Sinai frequently, you probably know that I like the top one very much. It's one of my favorite prayers of Thanksgiving. But, you know, that second one in the middle of the page is a great prayer as well, and it's from the book of Psalms. As you can see here on the bottom, this is a Psalm 8, a couple of verses from Psalm 8. And the book of Psalms is really the original Jewish prayer book, a collection of 150 poems, prayers, songs. Many of them were sung, many of them were set to music. And so the book of Psalms, the biblical book of Psalms, really is the original Jewish prayer book. And many of those prayers were sung or recited, set to music when the temple stood in Jerusalem. And this is a beautiful one. And hopefully we've got a nice night outside. When we go outside, we'll see if we can see some moon and stars when we head out tonight. And certainly the psalmist, in looking at a beautiful starlit night, was filled with awe, and this is the prayer of gratitude that came out. So let's pray this one together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulcha na'eh lehodot. So an ancient Jewish prayer of praise and implied thanksgiving. Well, we can now add the beauty of our prayers to the words of the prayer book. We can close our prayer books, but we can keep our hearts open as we take a few moments to talk to God silently in our heart and our soul and the words that come to us, or maybe we can listen, just listen to life and listen to what's coming up in our heart and soul as we think about Shabbat, the beauty of Shabbat, and we think about the beautiful world that God has given us.
Sim shalom tova uvracha, sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Sim shalom tova uvracha, sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom. Shalom tova uvracha, sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim.
There's a story that I've been thinking about for the past couple of weeks, actually the past several weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And I've been wanting to share this story with you all, and I thought tonight might be the night. We're got one more Shabbat before the High Holy Days, and this is the Shabbat that we are together, and the next Shabbat that we are together, we're going to be virtual on our Zoom. It's our Zoom service. I thought this is one I want to do in person as we get ready for the High Holy Days, as we think about the spirit and the attitude that we want to bring to this new year. I thought this story really, really says a lot. And it goes like this. There once was a man who was bored with everything about his life. He found no joy in his work or in his family or in his community. And so he prayed to God for a huge change. Show me the way to paradise, he begged God. God answered him and asked him, are you sure that's what you want? And the man replied, I am sure with all my heart. Show me the way to paradise. Well, as it turned out, paradise wasn't far away, just a few days' journey from his village. So late one afternoon, he set out on his way to paradise. He walked until nightfall and then decided to rest beneath a leafy tree. Now, just before he fell asleep, it occurred to him that in the morning he might become confused and forget which way was the way to paradise. He might get turned around, and which was the way back to the village. So he's left his shoes by the roadside with the tips of his shoes pointing toward paradise, so that in the morning all he'd have to do was jump into his shoes and continue on his way. Now, sometimes unexpected things happen. Shoes get turned around. Was it the wind? Was it an angel? Was it just a squirrel? Who knows? But somehow the man's shoes got turned around. Well, in the morning he rose feeling rested from his sleep. He ate from the fruit of the tree. How awesome is that? And he prepared to set off on his journey. He went to the roadway, stepped into his shoes, and began walking, unaware that he was, in fact, returning home. By noon, he could see a village on the next hillside, and his heart leapt. I've arrived in paradise, he thought. He ran down into the valley and up the hill, not stopping until he had arrived at the gates of the village. Wow! What a beautiful place paradise is, he thought. My village was always so crowded, so noisy. This is different, so filled with life and filled with joy. He sat down on a bench in the square, and he witnessed the life of the village. He heard the songs that children sang at school and the sounds of the adults at work. He felt the vitality, the energy, the love that filled the village. He sat in that village square all day. And in the evening, he heard the joyful sounds of families reunited at home, and he smelled the meals that were being enjoyed by each family. He began to feel hungry. He thought to himself, since paradise looks so much like my village, I wonder if there's a street in paradise like my street. And so he went to look, and just where he thought it might be, that's where he found it. Then he thought, I wonder if there's a house in paradise like my house. And just where he thought it might be, there it was. Just as he was wondering at this marvelous coincidence, a woman came to the door, a woman who bore a striking resemblance to his wife. Looked exactly like her. The woman called his name and asked him to come in for dinner. His heart leapt. They know me in paradise. There's a place set for me right here in paradise. The woman responded, I don't know what's in paradise, but your soup is getting cold at home. Come inside. He entered the house. The house in paradise was nothing like his house in the village. That house was always crowded. It was cluttered. It was filled with commotion. This place was cozy. It was homey. It was filled with life. He sat at the table. He ate the best meal he'd ever had. He complimented the woman on her heavenly soup. And afterward, he went up to his bedroom and he entered the deepest, most restful sleep he'd ever known. In the morning, the woman, who looked like his wife, handed him his tools and sent him to work. Now, at first, the man couldn't believe it. Who ever heard of working in paradise? But then it occurred to him, well, even in paradise, there are tasks that need to be done. And he found that this work was different from the work he'd done before in his village. It wasn't boring and dull and tedious. It filled him with a sense of purpose. And that night he returned to the same warm and loving home, the same kind woman, and more of her wonderful soup. And do you know, in all the years that followed, no one could convince the man that he hadn't made it to paradise. Every one of his days then on was filled with more wonder and more purpose, more joy, and more life than the day before. And that is the story of turning your shoes around. And that's sort of what we do at the High Holy Days, right? We turn and face a new year with new hope and hopefully new enthusiasm and a sense of new purpose. So that's a story called Turning Your Shoes Around by Rabbi Eddie Feinstein, who was Cantor Allison's, one of her rabbis growing up. Yes?
And worked.
And worked?
We worked together.
Yeah, and you worked together with Ed Feinstein. Yes, yeah. One of my favorites in a book that he wrote about, a book of stories he collected called Capturing the Moon. All right, well, let us now turn to our hearts, I should say, turn our hearts to people that we know and care about who are in need of healing. A healing of body and a healing of spirit. So we invite you to turn to the laminated sheet before you or on page 371 in the prayer book, page 371, for our Misha Berach prayer of healing.
Just a quick second.
Source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Well, at this time, we think of our dear friend Carolyn Moore Musso in Sacramento, recovering from her surgery. She is doing well. I had a wonderful conversation with her this past Shabbat, and she sends her love. And she's, speaking of soup, she's enjoying some new healthy cuisine. She was explaining, and she's getting some help from Emma and Ben with recipes for heart-healthy foods. So we think of Carolyn, and we also invite you to offer the name of someone that you were thinking of who is in need of healing, a healing of body and a healing of spirit. Let's go around the sanctuary, and please raise your hand and call out their name. Maggie? Thank you. Yes. Len. Yes. Leonard Cash. Yes. Philip. Davis. Mike. Kim. Well, we think of all of them, and now we turn to our Shabbat Leaflet, and on the inside, left page, we think of all of these temple members who are in need of healing. We pray in our hearts for all these temple members in need of healing. We pray in our heart for all these family members in need of healing, and all of these friends and coworkers who are in need of healing, as we now continue our prayer of healing together.
Sheberach imotenu mekor habracha liavotenu.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit,
And let us say, Amen.
we pray they are all healed. Well, we come now to our concluding prayers. We turn to page 586 in our prayer book, page 586. We come to the adoration prayer, Aleinu, which was created. It was composed for the purpose of Rosh Hashanah in the 3rd century of, 1700-year-old prayer. And so beloved by the Jewish people, they say, we don't want to do it for just Rosh Hashanah, we want to do it for Shabbat as well. So I wonder if we can call upon Jackson and Saul to help out. If you guys could help us open the ark, and we'll all stand together before the open ark, symbol of God's presence in our lives.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated, everybody.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our family members who have died, our friends who passed away, members of our community, members of every race and nation who are a blessing to humanity. We think of them now, we honor them through our memory and through our prayer. As I mention the name of a loved one who has passed, I invite you to please stand, and then in just a moment, we'll all stand together to recite the Kaddish prayer in just a moment. This Shabbat, we say Kaddish for Arlene Hammer. We say Kaddish for Dorothy Broomer. Say Kaddish for Jack Barkley, Ronald Simon, Chase Joseph Newton, Ronald C. Jack, Beryl Sosnick, Beverly Sutton, Harvey Hirsch, Phyllis Sivan, Shirley Rosenberg. We say Kaddish for Eva Hain and Marion Parnes. We say Kaddish for David Lieberman, Susan Schwartz, and Leon Johnson. And for those who are observing Yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one that is commemorated this week, we remember Shirley Burton. We remember Bernice Cash, Barbara Mahler, Julius Lieberman. We remember Sylvia Ross, Harry Cohen, Eleanor Sensel, and we remember Carol Petter. Is there anybody who's mourning a loss whose name was not mentioned? If so, we invite you to please raise your hand and mention that name now. Philip.
Kathy Janger.
Well, for all of them, let's stand together as a community of friends. As we turn to page 598 in our prayer book, page 598, we thank God that they were all with us as we pray together. Yitkadau, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bialma Divrach Hirutei, Viamlich Malchutei, B'chaye Chon V'yomechon, U'b'chaye D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala U'bizman Kari, V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'lolmei Almaya, Yitparach V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal, Shmei D'Kudusha Berichu, Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbachata V'nechamata, Damiran Bialma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yal Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn. May we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. Together we say, Amen. And please be seated, everybody.
Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru V'imru Amen.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is my Shabbos voice. I was telling everybody at work that I'm not a chain smoker and I didn't drink bleach before the call. So I'm sorry that I have this horrible hoarse voice, but I'll try to announce and represent the board tonight. Coming up at Temple Sinai, we have a lot to look forward to. Zoom Minyan and Torah study tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Please join us in person tomorrow evening at exactly 6:13 p.m. for our Slichot service and study session with wine and cheese. Also, tonight is your last chance to order round challah and honey cake for Rosh Hashanah. It's also the last opportunity to add names to this year's Yom Kippur Yizkor book. You can do both easily on the temple website when you get home tonight. You'll find details about all of this and more in the weekly TSG email blast. Also, tonight's flowers are presented by Mimi Weiner for the yahrzeit of her mother, Naomi Weiner, and father, Dr. Julius H. Weiner, Ruth and Richard Goldstein for the yahrzeit of Richard's mother, Dorothy Block, Leonard Cash for the yahrzeit of his mother, Bernice Cash, Martha Sensel and Joel Schwartz for the yahrzeit of Martha's mother, Eleanor Sensel, and Joel's father, Howard Schwartz. At the conclusion of the service, everyone is invited to join the Oneg hosted tonight by Sisterhood. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you, Saul. Thank you so much. I'd like to mention Saul is a dedicated member of our Temple Sinai Board of Directors, and he's also the chairperson of our Religious School Educational Governing Board. So our thanks to you, and thanks to Jackson for being here tonight. Please say hi to Emily and Brian for us. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. I was trying to do the math about the last time we were together for Slichot. Has it been 3 years? 3 years since we were together for Slichot. So it's tomorrow night. I like to call it like a prelude to the High Holy Days. Cantor's going to be singing songs that are High Holiday songs. Maggie's going to be blowing shofar, and we're going to hear Tekiah Gedola. We're going to have a discussion about some beautiful renditions or variations on a number of prayers that we did tonight. I was thinking about this earlier. The V'ahavta. There's a V'ahavta that we're going to look at in the Slichot prayer book. It's a new Slichot prayer book. Once you hear this V'ahavta, the English translation, I don't think you'll think of the V'ahavta the same way again. It's that powerful, and there's some other really powerful prayers. We're going to have wine, we're going to have cheese, we're going to have music, we're going to talk about some neat variations of prayers to get us ready for the holidays. Shofar, we're going to be together. And we're going to be outside for a little bit. So it's supposed to be 75 degrees tomorrow night. It's going to be very pleasant. We're going to be outside for the wine and cheese, and then we're going to have a Havdalah service outside. Then we're going to come in here, and I almost forgot one of the most important things we're going to do. We're going to change the Torah mantles from the blue to white, the traditional white for the high holidays. So please come join us. In many ways, we need you. And I want to guarantee maybe everybody a role to play in helping to change the Torah mantles. So please come join us. 6:13 it begins, and then we'll have the service at about 7 o'clock. So it's a prime time Slichot. Yeah, right? Some Slichot services start at midnight and they go till 2 or 3 in the morning. Ours is more of a prime time, so get you home at a reasonable hour. So please join us. All right, well, thank you all for being here tonight, and for our closing song,
We're going to do Adon Olam. We did it last week, and people had fun with it, so let's do it again. We are on page 625.
625, and let's stand up. Let's stand together and sing.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa,
B'chefso Kol,
Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam,
Ve'acharei,
Yivlot HaKol,
Lev Adon Yivlot Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoved, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
B'terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra,
Yetzir Nivra,
Le'et Nasa,
Le'et Nasa,
B'chefso Kol,
Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam,
V'yado Avki Ruchi,
V'yeti Shan Ve'a'ira Adon
Olam, Ve'im Ruchi, Yaviati, Adonai li v'lo ira, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. If you'll please take your prayer books with you, and we've got the bookshelf there. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Jackson. You were awesome. Thanks so much for helping. Thank you. Oh, that's great. All right, please come anytime.
And to you too. Shabbat Shalom. I want to see that calligraphy. I dabbled in calligraphy years ago.
Yeah?
Never got that good at it.
It's hard to do.
I also didn't have a lot of patience for it. That's the big issue.
So do you use the pen? Do you use the special calligraphy pen? Wow.
What's the guess?
It looks bigger. Oh, that one.
Which one?
Okay.
I'll go with wine in it.
You look things like wine?
No.
Grape juice? It had some bubbles. I thought maybe those look like grape juice bubbles.
You can probably put an order in for what you want. I think that's.
But I don't drink. So it's okay.
Well, then, grape juice.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen l'chaim. That's some
We have little
top line
challahs
grape
here
juice.
on the. Oh, this
Look,
has
it
got a bigger
grew.
one. It looked bigger.
Isn't that cute?
Yes. We've been using the little ones.
Yeah.
Yes, this is like
Yeah.
we've graduated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.